And so this week, we're going to be talking about one of the boundless abodes, one of the essential trainings for a bodhisattva, training for awakening bodhicitta, this heart mind that is always moving towards uh, goodness, always opening to wisdom, always opening, um, even in its closing, in its recognition, once again present and available. This is very hard for us to remember. We have some habits. Let's name what they are. One of them is to feel into a moment of distress, and rather than recognize this as not only a part of the path, but actually the essential path, we contract, we push away, we distract, we get busy, we get on our screens, we fix our closet, whatever we're doing. And the real opportunity in that moment, and we're going to be doing it today, because the essential formal practice, I think, is required, which is to rejoice. Yikes. Yikes. Oh, yikes. Rejoice. Be glad at the opportunity to awaken. Whew. Right? Wowie, wow. Rejoice, be glad at this moment's opportunity. First, to recognize our humanness. That's the beginning. Can we actually start there without demand? Wouldn't that be beautiful by itself? Just to go, others just like me feel this too. That's going to be one of our practices, right in the middle of the dukkha, right when we didn't want it, right when you couldn't figure it out, right when you just believed that the other was beyond healing. Could we remember and offer that simple phrase? Others, just like me, know this, feel this, struggle with this, don't want this, would rather do anything else, would rather be anywhere else, just like me, too. And in that moment of recognition from these teachings, it says essentially everything else is easy from that. Because once you expand the heart enough to know that this is not my storyline, this is not my problem, this isn't about my partner, this isn't because of my anything, this is the truth of an aspect of our humanness. In that moment, you are freed, because the heart has to go like this, doesn't it? To hold that truth. It can no longer just go, me, just about me and my story and what I don't like and why I didn't want it and how it's not fair. And by the way, I'm not saying it's fair. That's not the point. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying the other person was skillful, am I? I am saying we know for sure that they are in suffering. We do. We know for sure. How do we know? Because the contracted heart is our suffering too, isn't it? And then whatever comes from that, whatever unskillful thoughts, whatever unskillful words, and then, yes, we all do it. We add, don't we, unskillful actions. This is, I believe, ultimately an adult's cry, isn't it? Isn't it simply a cry of distress? I'm not okay. This isn't all right. I don't know what to do in this moment. I am not capable of more. And can we remember And we were practicing last week then opening, and rather than rejecting, which is the habit, rather than shutting down, rather than rationalizing our own hatred, our ill will, our own disgust, our own righteousness, our right, rather than feed the storyline with more, we can actually open. This was one of the opportunities for opening, and actually breathe it in. Actually say, I recognize this as a moment of suffering. And rather than abandon, and guess who we abandoned first? Anybody? Right here. It isn't abandoning the other, because the minute you dishonor the experience of them, in them, what else, who else did you actually dishonor? Your own pain, your own confusion, your own suffering. And there is no healing possible, is there? None. And what did I say? Well, we're all going to forget. Remember, I promised we're all going to forget to do this. We're all going to refuse to do this, because not this one, not this time. No. I could do it for that guy at the stop sign, but not when I walked home and my husband goes, really? It took you 45 minutes to go to the store? Right? This is why they should not license guns to everyone. Right? This is exactly the right? Because like, no, I do not need you. You do not need to be here. It'd be better for everybody if you just weren't around, right? And those thoughts in their synaptic form actually are happening. I can feel the tightness happen. Can I actually remember, if I am feeling this, what? You are feeling this too. Do you know what I mean by that? If I am feeling this, I'm feeling it because you already are feeling this too. And so what can we do? Open wherever you can. Isn't that right? And maybe I can't open for you right then. Maybe the best I can do is what we're going to continue to practice, which is, can I open to this suffering in me and remember that others, just like me, including you, the one across from me, who look to be the perpetrator, feel this too. And then what gets in the way? Write it in chat or come on and say it. What gets in the way? We know the truth of this, don't we? We're all nodding. We know what gets in the way. I can open in infinite directions, says the teachings. I can open to me. I can open to you. I can open to all beings who know this too. Right? Look at all the doors. Look at all the doors. What gets in the way? Write it in chat or come on and name it. What gets in the way? Our story, says Libby, gets in the way. What's the story? Yes, the ego. The ego is the author of the story. Right? Ego's writing the story. This is the fiction. Who's narrating? The ego. What's the ego saying? Fear, that's right. Fear is the mother of the ego. Always. Judgment, yep. Judgment is what we do once we've activated that fear. We go, you can't be okay because I'm not feeling so good. Right? And if you were really okay, I'd be feeling better. Righteousness, yes. I am privileged or entitled, or it should be. There's a lot of should in righteousness, isn't there? It should have happened. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened that way. And there is, righteousness is so tricky for me because there really is an essential truth in it. And the truth is, yes, wherever there is harm, right? Wherever there is pain, there is something inherently not best, right, in it, except the righteousness, we bring it onto ourselves. We put it on ourselves then. It's not just you're wrong, it's you're wrong, maybe unskillful, maybe causing harm, which makes me right. Comes back to ego, comes back to feeding that. Indignation, yeah, that's another one of those, right? Another version of aggression, as is righteousness, right? Aren't all of these aspects of fear? I this, I that. Believe in the fact that the process is who I am. Yes, this is one of our big mistakes, Greg. And Greg and I have both been practicing a while. And don't we get to look at that pretty regularly? The believed thought, Joko used to call this falsely believed concepts, that the I is real. That more than the feelings themselves, the judgment, the indignation, the fear, the righteousness, that the biggest delusion is to believe that there was an I who was or wasn't feeling, thinking, saying, doing anything, that was already mistaken. And in the basic teachings, what does it say? The minute we solidify by virtue of our fear, said Brenda, that ego, that I-ness, we are going to suffer. Whatever you're feeling, whatever it is, even when it's, I got it going on. I'm really doing this well. I'm getting praise or acknowledgement or accumulation or otherworldly gains, right? We can go, look at me. I got a lot happening here. And what's the problem with that? Why does that guaranteed, says the teaching, it's guaranteed to lead to suffering? Because it can't keep, it won't last. And it wasn't just you anyway, was it? It wasn't just you. So whoever owns Facebook, whoever owns Google, whoever owns YouTube, whoever owns Twitter, right? These mega billionaires, guess what? The problem is you can't do that alone either. You require all of us, as we all do, to be transparent. Yes, really transparent, like permeable, you know, like a sieve or a screen door, and in the Tonglen practice, didn't we make contact with that? We really have to get more porous. We have to dissolve the solidity, because otherwise we're stuck. And then we choke, don't we? We choke, both in our humanness and in another's. We start to choke, like, blah, I can't do it. So that's where our practice was last week. This week, we're going to shift a little bit. I don't do rejoicing practice enough. I don't. I would call this also gratitude practice, just so you know. I think gratitude is an aspect of rejoicing practice, recognizing blessings, but it isn't. Gratitude is feeling for the goodness in oneself and another. So it's rejoicing is an aspect of that. Here's how it, I think, goes beyond. It isn't just recognizing, oh, wow, what a blessing for me. Oh, look at this gorgeous hair on Libby. What a blessing for her. It's actually gathering the juice, the goodness, the energy of that blessing, and distributing it. You're going to share it. So guess what I'm going to ask Libby to do? I'm going to ask her to gather all that gorgeous hair and wish that for everybody. Very simple, isn't it? And not so easy, because what? Well, this is just my hair. We forget, don't we? We forget. Oh, look at this goodness in me, I'm going to gather it up in recognition, and then I'm going to offer it wherever I can, right? And so if you have a home and you see the homeless, what are you going to do? I'm going to wish that for them and rejoice that both I have it and in the wish and in the very wish. And then what it says, the teachings say is, you will not be able to do anything but contribute. You will not be able to do anything less than contribute to that very wish, that very rejoice, the very acknowledging, appreciation, gratitude, the recognition that it is a gift, and then the wish that others have this very gift as well. So I'll tell a quick story and then we're going to meditate. The story is that I was visiting my mom, whose partner's getting better, by the way, and that's very exciting. At 90, the guy is like a Gumby. He whoop, comes right back out in the garage making stuff. I can't get over it. I'm like, wow, this is like time number, I don't know what, but there he is, and saying, I'm good, things are good. And he was almost dead. And that's not a joke. His heart rate was down below 40 a couple of times. Very scary stuff. And I'm with my mom and we go to Starbucks. She loves these little things to do together. And I see a guy sitting on the side of the road and I'm at a stoplight. This is my opportunity, right? There's my $5. I got him now in the car. And I get it out and my mother starts like looking at me like, oh no. And then I roll her side of the window down because guess what? He's over on that side of the curb. And now I hear more like, oh no. And I go, Mom, give this to him. And he comes walking over and now she's like, oh my God, I can't do. And in her nervousness, the first thing she hands him is her coffee. It was spectacular. Now she wants to get the coffee back so she can give him the $5. And so she's kind of like, can we trade? And then he's like, this is not for me. And he looks and he sees her lipstick on the coffee. Back to her. Precious. I'm crying from the preciousness of this. Now, my mom is afraid of the homeless, and I understand why. Right? Because for her, the homeless are thieves. They're the guys breaking into her car. By the way, that's not actually accurate, and yet that's her understanding. And so to actually treat someone with humanness is actually against her brainstem, right? And scary for her. And I rolled up the window and I said, how do you feel now? How do you feel now? And she said, I'm glad I have my coffee. But guess what? Rejoice. You have a coffee. Okay. How wonderful. And that guy now can get one too, if he wants. And isn't that great for us all? Can't we rejoice in it all? Okay, I'm going to read a quick quote and then we're going to practice. Here it is. Came out of Terry Hershey's thing this morning. Here it is. And I actually thought it was quite lovely. This is prayer for the week, and I'll share it when I send the Zoom out. Oh, come into the quiet and enter into rest. A banquet is prepared for you, a full and wholeness blessed. Come drink the wine of being and let the rivers flow, awakening the heaven in your soul. And that's by a contemplative monk, Bob Holmes. Awaken the heaven in your soul. So we're going to prepare to sit. In rejoicing, we do, as a boundless abode, we can hold open the 7 categories: a benefactor, a loved one, a friend, a neutral other, a slightly challenging other, all of them, myself, and then all beings. We're not going to be doing that full 7 categories. And I might play with this just a little bit to see how we might make contact with this reality of goodness, blessings, and how to use those. Most ordinary, right? Most everyday. These tend to be what I call everyday blessings, things we have forgotten about, like the beautiful warm red socks I have on right now that are keeping my feet warm. And that we, in our fear-based thinking, how we can only see the deficiencies, what is not enough, what we don't have, what we want but cannot keep. And let's see if we can find a way to open right in the midst, awakening the heaven in your soul. Just finding a comfortable posture. And I keep the eyes closed first, just drawing my attention inward, making contact with the body as it's sitting here. Feeling the sense of aliveness. In the breath, in sensations. And can we use this very contact, cold feet, warm hands, little crick in the neck, whatever's happening here, can we use this as evidence for the blessing of the gift of this precious human life? Each breath. A blessing, an opportunity for presence, for love, for connection, for belonging, for being of benefit. And we ignite the heart of bodhicitta in that remembering. And let it begin to crack the old container, the armor. Breathe in and let that heart space expand. And there is an achiness. There is a kind of a brittle quality to the protected heart that we can often feel as we breathe in. And this is good news. And just for a moment with the eyes closed, see if you can make contact with the continuous blessings, ordinary, everyday blessings, with which you can rejoice. And it might simply begin with, as we said, this moment of being alive. This having a body that can move and establish purpose and feel. And then we are asked to remember that there are few who have been offered this blessing. Few throughout all time, accorded to few. You have already been blessed by this human incarnation, whatever else comes. And how do you experience that truth? Drop into the body, into the breath space, into the heart. See how you know that rejoicing, joyful quality. We have turned the channel on the ego's habit for seeing what is not, for perceiving deficiency, paucity um, in ourselves, in each other, and in the present moment. Our tendency to see ourselves and this life as insufficient. How does it feel when we just in this one moment recognize the blessings that are everywhere? Let's take some time and just breathe that in. Continuing to recognize, to note, and to then take the time to soak it in. We're just filling, fueling that bodhicitta with the remembering. And I just had a thought, gosh, I can close my eyes and invite rest right there in the eye door. What a blessing. And hear dogs barking in the distance. And I actually know they're being cared for, that they are safe. What a blessing. And then the rejoicing is the open hearts response. Watch for the ego's habit to go, well, you're so deficient, you haven't thought of this before. You're pretty ungrateful. You haven't ever been grateful for eyelids before. Be watchful. This is a very easy thing to have happen, which is to go into some self-making storyline right here that I have been deficient in being grateful and recognizing blessings. You're just solidifying through fear the ego once again. I remember, not me, not I. Can I even see the habit of fear arising here? And then I can rejoice. Rejoice in the same. And a natural smile, nothing forced, nothing for the photo, comes to the eyes, to the mouth, as we rest in rejoicing. A warm hand, the safety of a home, loving others. Even if they don't love you in all the ways you wish they would. We aren't looking for what isn't. We continue to cultivate joy, gratitude, and appreciation through seeing what is. And then I'd like you to call to mind, if you would, someone who has offered you gratitude, um, someone who said thank you, someone who you have genuinely seen appreciation. Might not even be for you, though that would be lovely. It might be for something you did. It might be for something that you contributed to. Can you call them to mind and recollect their joy and their rejoicing? Right through that gratitude. And see their natural joy right through that appreciation, right through that recognition. And drop beneath the image, the storyline. See how that feels right in your own heart space. And we're going to begin by breathing that in, remembering that joy. That joy cannot be diminished. There is an ease, there is an openness that comes with this joy. This is a contentedness that, again, cannot be undone. It only grows and grows. And then I'd like you to call yourself to mind. In a moment in which you contributed to the joy in another. It might have been your presence, words of appreciation, love. It might have been an act of kindness or care. The moment in which you have contributed to the rejoicing, the gladness, the ease and well-being of another. And then I want you to feel back into that heart and feel the effects there. And that also is rejoicing. It is not only the goodness we have received, it is not only the gratitude we hold, it is that which we contribute. And I want you to feel the effects. It is often equal or greater. There is often a brightness, an aliveness, an energetic sense. There is a quality I notice in myself, like I want to do this again. That good feeling that comes from contributing to another's happiness, ease, or well-being. And we rejoice in this as well, both in their receiving it and in our offering. May we rejoice and be glad both at our good fortunes and the offering of those good fortunes to others. Feel the effect now, not only in the heart space, but in the whole of the body. Checking in not only to that quality of heart, that sense of opening, warmth, connection, joy. I'd like you to feel into the qualities of mind that come with this as well. What I noticed as I just was calling this to mind was, what else could I do? How else might I contribute both to their joy and to this feeling of joy at their joy in myself? It invites repetition. Can you feel that? Remembering that this is a joy that does not diminish. It never goes away. And now I'd like you to just arrive in the present moment once again and name something that is bringing you present moment rejoicing. I'm going to just pick, for example, this delicious coffee, Nespresso coffee that I was just drinking. What a privilege, what an opportunity that I have this available. And can I feel into the rejoicing of that? It's actually quite delicious and warm. Can I feel that sense of appreciation? And then not only for the coffee itself, but for all those who contributed. The infinite others. Can I rejoice for them as well? And once again, feel the effects drop down into the body. How is the body responding to this essential truth? All those others who have contributed. I have a physical sensation of kind of welling up in the upper lobes of the lungs. There's likely some kind of opening uh, up in the breath, in the chest, and in the vagus nerve, the polyvagal system. There is no sense of lack. So be watchful of this idea of rejoicing being a kind of cymbal clanging event. It is not. This comes with that ease and contentedness, an inner joy. That will still be there, actually, even when the coffee is gone. And then we're going to take that very quality. We're going to take that remembering, and we're going to offer it to others. We're going to wish this for others who do not have that ease, that contentedness. And on that out breath, just like in the Tonglen practice, we're going to breathe out our joy. And we're going to offer to all those who don't have a warm cup of coffee. Who don't have this health, who don't have great health care, who don't have a warm house, who don't have a beautiful, loving pet, who don't, whatever it was you made contact with. We're going to breathe it out. And we're going to send it out to all those. Or maybe that one guy sitting on that one curb. I'm going to wish this joy for him. With each out breath, I send the blessing. And then with each in breath, what else is there to do but breathe in for him? Right? We take in the suffering. We take in the reality that he does not have the same blessing. And we send out the good medicine, the warm blanket, the $5, the backpack, the baskets, the stamps, the good eyes, the nice hair. We send whatever we can and rejoice. May you too have this good fortune. And then I'd like you to expand this. This is the heart ever expanding, the heart of bodhicitta, never diminishing. I'd like you to call to mind someone who's just bugging you, somebody who's irritating, somebody you're just not liking right now that you see as a problem. That's not doing what you want, what you like, maybe not even what you need. And I'd like you to offer on the out breath, offer this goodness, this joy to them. May you have a good cup of coffee, a warm beverage, a shelter, a blanket, whatever it was that you named as your good fortune this morning. And may you also breathe in their suffering. May I relieve your suffering and take it in, right into my own heart, the heart of bodhicitta, the whole mind, body, being. And may I do so gladly. And then we're going to expand the heart one more time beyond the difficult, beyond those who have made offers, beyond ourselves who have both given, gifted, and received, to include everyone. May we all be blessed. May we all have this good fortune. May we all have appreciation and gratitude for things and beings and this life itself. May we all rejoice and be glad for this human life. May we all take delight, rejoice, and be glad at our good fortune. And may we all wish that good fortune for others. And feel the effects right in your own body. The ache at the suffering and the joy at the offering. May we all be happy. May we all be free from pain and suffering. May we all rejoice at the truth of this precious human life and all that we have been gifted. And may we wish these very blessings for others. And may we rest and dwell in the refuge of equanimity. Free from all greed, all clinging, all craving. May we breathe out all that goodness and rejoice. And may this heart of bodhicitta, precious and sublime, arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it is arisen, just like now, may it grow and flourish evermore. And more. So then here's the question. Can you rejoice at your own breaking heart? Can you be grateful for that? This heart of compassion that recognizes the truth of suffering. Can we be glad? Yes, we can we? Grateful for that heart, because that's the one that responds. That's the same one. To be vulnerable, Carrie says, to the pain, suffering for ourselves and others. This, can we rejoice at the truth of this, that we have this heart available to us. Yes. I'm going to just check in, see if there are any chat items before we go to the 2 chapters on rejoicing and some of the practices that we will be in this week. Anything from anyone before we move? Okay, let's see if we can find the Kindle. It should be right here. Here we go. This is chapter 10. I got something. Let's see if you can see that. Can people see that? It actually says chapter 12. I have to go back. But can you see the Kindle? Yeah, Brenda, thank you. Great. Here we go. Finding the ability to rejoice. Here's Longchenpa, who was one of the probably, I think he was in the 13th century. Let the flower of compassion There it was, right? Blossom in the rich soil of my tree and water it with the good water of equanimity in the cool, refreshing shade of joy. In the cool, refreshing shade of joy. It says here that one of our mistakes in rejoicing or in the understanding of joy is that we tend to make it or believe it needs to be something special, like the promotion, the new car, right? We tend to go, boy, oh boy. And this actually is not the definition here of joy at all. That is more gleeful or happy at getting something, right? At the getting. Remember where you might have felt the greatest joy? It wasn't actually in the getting. Where was it? Where was it? In making the offer. That one, you could feel it. You can go, wait a minute, that does not diminish. It does not diminish. The other one, the chocolate cake, folks, guess what? It's gone. You ate it. That's it. And doesn't mean it wasn't delicious. And it doesn't mean you can't be in joy for that cake, right? You can go, wow, what a privilege. This amazing dish, the people who made it, the opportunity to sit in community with others for it, right? All of that. But really just the thing. Watch what happens with the things. The things come, the things go, right? And so where is the real joy? The joy is in the sharing. The joy is in the offering. The joy is in the contribution. The joy is in the appreciation. The joy is in others seeing you as a contribution. And the joy is in being the contribution. Is it true? Because there ain't no chocolate cake, I promise, that will bring you more joy than that. There is not. And it will never be so. And keep watching for that this week. Well, oh, joy in this, in securing this, and getting this, and having this. It doesn't mean it's that there's not some arising. You cannot keep it. You cannot keep it. My son's 31 years old. I've been buying this kid video games for the last 25 of those 31 years. Guess what? Asks for 4 or 5 video games every year. Every year I get him those video games. Guess what happens next year? He asks me for 4 or 5 more video games. Guess why? All done with that. All done with that. Right there it is. All done with that. On the opposite side, I don't think I meant that exactly, but we'll stay there for the hyperbole. My grandmother used to make this cookie every year. It was a Hungarian cookie called the Keefli at Christmas. I am in joy about that today. I have as much joy today about that cookie as the day she made those cookies. What is that? Was it the cookie? No. Was it the love with which she made them, offered them, committed herself to them? Oh, yes, it was. And that's alive today, isn't it? It's alive right here today, right? So what's the difference? I want you to look at that this week. What's the difference between receiving and the joy of that, offering the joy of that, and how we mistake the joy for items or accumulations or securing, or, right? We do it over and over, don't we? Oh, I was really happy I got the new job. I was really happy right? Well, that one we know for sure is likely to fade. What remains? Where is the joy and how does it remain? Pema says, joy comes from a growing appreciation of our basic goodness and the goodness of others. Very simply, our basic goodness, we get to rejoice right there Remember in that offering, we were like, woohoo, there it was. And in the goodness of others, not in the item, not in the item. Be careful. We tend to materialize these things. So then, if somebody were just simply going to listen to you with their whole heart and their complete attention, what a gift would that be? What a gift would that be? What an offering that would be of themselves in their goodness, offering that to you, because now they have said you too are worthy of this. That's an amazing exchange. That's another practice we could consider, isn't it? Is just placing attention, offering people wholeheartedly that. Remember, it isn't in the item. It is in the basic goodness and its exchange. Could it be represented by an item? Sure, it counts, but it really isn't about that. It's about somebody cared enough to pack that backpack. Somebody cared enough to buy those scarves. Somebody, right? This is the point. Let's be watchful because we can get mistaken a lot. We still experience the illusion of separateness otherwise, and there's a fundamental openness that we can begin to trust as we look for that basic goodness. As we're looking for it. Oh, here and here and here. Oh, wow. I see it again. The dogs aren't barking right now. Guess what? Somebody heard them and let them in. Basic goodness. Can I be enjoyed at that? Actually, very much so. A happiness that's completely devoid of clinging and craving. No attachment. Zero. Only wishing that for others. That, and I used that simple cup of coffee, didn't I? I didn't pick a big, expensive, gigantic, just a cup of coffee. Can I wish this? And its warmth and its feeling of connectedness and someone's recognizing that someone cared about them too. This is the joy of happiness. I love this line, without the hangover. This is the joy of happiness without the hangover. What's the hangover? I'm drunk on the momentary receiving, and I'm in deficiency or in more seeking when it's gone. That's the hangover. I just need to get another one. And I am drunk in greed. Let's be watchful of those qualities. We train in staying present. Pema says we begin joy or the sense of goodness with the feeling that our own situations are workable. We stop looking for something else. That's really what it means for me. I stop going, if only it were blue, if only it were warmer, if only I had a better seat, if only it was a Wednesday, if only you hadn't said that, you'd said the other thing, right? And we can if only ourselves right out of joy, because what are we looking at now? What isn't? What's not? What's not exactly fitting our preference or our prejudice or our bias, right? We see, oh, this is not meeting me perfectly, my egoic sense of if only I had that then, I could be okay. It means we have confidence that something will grow here. The confidence that something, in fact, is already growing here. We cultivate our garden, the conditions become more conducive for bodhicitta. The joy comes from not giving up on ourselves. I really liked this too. From mindfully sticking with ourselves and beginning to experience our own great goodness, I'll call it. And she says, warrior spirit here, our own basic goodness, to experience our own basic goodness. How is it manifest this moment? Here's one of the traditional phrases: may I and others never be separated from the great happiness that is devoid of suffering. What is the happiness devoid of suffering? No thing, no circumstance, no earrings cannot be devoid of suffering. Because what? You're going to lose them. They're going to go away. You can't keep them. What's the great happiness devoid of suffering? The rejoicing at my basic goodness, the goodness of others, and its response. And its response. How could we not then make the offers? May you have this happiness also. Right? May you also. We can practice the first step of the aspiration by learning to rejoice in our own good fortune. I did that, didn't I? I said, what about just this nice cup of coffee I'm drinking? Can I be happy for that? I actually was. It was quite delicious. It was warm. I have a cup. I'm sitting in a room with my sister. And the goodness just expanded, right? Couldn't find a problem. My feet are cold. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. I didn't pay the gardener, by the way. I wasn't too worried about it. Right? Only goodness. And now you just see goodness from goodness. It is its nature. From a contact with goodness, what will arise is other goodness. Not because it made it, but because you have the mind that is now attending to the good news. Not to what isn't, but what is. She tells a cute little joke here. This joy, this goodness is in evidence in everyday, ordinary life. Now, I love this also. She said very clearly, by actually attending to ordinary things, we are rejoicing in them. By the very attending to the ordinary things, by vacuuming your rug, you're valuing the rug, attending to the rug, and recognizing its goodness, aren't you? By washing the dish, by cleaning out the car. This is not just so you don't look like a sloth. This is actually so that you can say, I'm regarding these things and their goodness as well. So in the very caring, and then we can expand that beyond the things, can't we, to people? Isn't it true that as we care for others, we are honoring, acknowledging their goodness and rejoicing in that? Yes, we are, by the very care we extend to them. And we can rejoice both in our goodness and in theirs. In that rejoicing, we make contact, she says, with the living quality, the living aliveness that is found in everything. The other way you could say that is basic goodness that is found in everything. When we extend our attention, what I want you to know is appreciation follows. By very attention, appreciation will follow. By that appreciation, gratitude will follow. And by that gratitude, joy will follow. I want you to know it's stepwise. By attention, appreciation. By appreciation, the heart of gratitude. By that gratitude, this all abiding, never decreasing joy cannot be diminished. In the Zen tradition, boy, oh boy, do I know this. We're taught to bow at everything. What a beautiful practice. What a beautiful practice. Couldn't we do that? It doesn't have to be a big fancy Zen bow all the way at the waist. It could simply be a nod of the head. I see the goodness in this. I see the goodness in you. I see the goodness available in this life. Another practice. Can we bow in gratitude, in appreciation, in recognizing basic goodness and wishing it in that bow for others? Yes, we can. Essential practice. So that before your meal, before your coffee, before you say goodbye, don't we? We bow. We call those salutations, but we essentially bow to them. I see the goodness in you, in this exchange. We're going to practice that now. It takes guts. Rejoicing in ordinary things takes guts. I love that, and it is so true. Each time we drop our complaining, we drop the deficiency speech, we drop the if only it were more of this, less of that, something, something, we enter the warrior's heart. Each time we drop the complaint. What is this? An essential practice. Drop the complaint. That means I'm looking at what isn't, I'm not looking at what is. And I'm separating myself from the truth right there. I don't have, you have too much. How come? Why not? Here we go. We're in separation. We're in isolation. We're in disconnect. And that is the path to certain suffering. She says here, we can learn to rejoice by think of a loved one and to appreciate their good fortune. We did that. And actually the way they shared that fortune with us by their very being, very probably. We are encouraged to keep these exchanges simple because I think what we can often do, especially in an affluent society, is go, well, you've already got everything. No, you don't. No, you don't. I don't care where you live. I don't care what car you drive. I don't care how many friends you have. The truth is, what do we all need? We all need to be seen. We all need to be appreciated for our basic goodness. And we all need the practice of offering that to others. That is the joy that is never diminished, right? Not because they have those really cool Apple Watches or they have that really something e-bike, or right? And again, we tend to get confused. If we're holding grudges, we know that it costs us. We already know this deeply. Can we let go of the grudge and offer basic goodness and rejoicing to ourselves and the other? Can we use even the slightest irritation as an opportunity for rejoicing? Can we use it? Rather than indulge ourselves, she says, in that storyline, if only I had something else. May I rejoice for the man sitting comfortably in the sun. Can I gather that blessing, that goodness, make the offering? Can I be happy for the dog that got brought in? Yes, I can. Can we regard others with appreciation? The prison walls of our own heart are all the storylines that somehow we don't have what we need. And we do it over and over all day. And we have to be watchful. The storyline that somehow we do not have what we actually need. And that is not true. You actually do. You have this precious human life. You have the capacity to see clearly where real joy, real happiness and to participate. One of the slogans in the Lojong trainings is always maintain only a joyful mind. We always maintain only a joyful mind. What an instruction that is. Holy cow. How are we going to maintain only a joyful mind? By pointing towards what is in its basic goodness, not what isn't meeting our preference. There it is. That's the instruction. By acknowledging, recognizing, placing attention on what is in its basic goodness, not what isn't meeting our preference. Always is a very long time. Maybe we could simply begin this one moment. Right? Maybe just right here. And not armor ourselves up. And not armor ourselves up. There's not too much in chapter 11 that I feel like I need to speak to. It is the breath work, which is gathering the deficiency, gathering the pain, gathering the confusion, gathering the lack of appreciation, maybe the lack of gratitude that you see somewhere in yourself and in the other. What do we know? This is the path to true suffering. And what do you send them? May you see clearly all the goodness that is available to you here, and keep it simple, as it said in the previous chapter. May you just see that beautiful flower. May you see that clear sky. May you feel the warmth of the sun. Basics. Stop, notice, and appreciate what is happening. That's a good beginning. And discomfort of any kind, this is the part of the chapter that I found the most useful, becomes the basis for our practice. Discomfort of any kind becomes the basis for our practice. How is that so? Because it's the Dharma. Nudge, nudge, nudge. Can you open to this? Can you even see the goodness in this? And the answer is yes, I can, because right about now, I'm all closing down, when actually that's the path to suffering, when I could be now, by that very recognition, opening up. Right as soon as I notice, there I go, wishing it was something else, wishing it was another day, wishing it were some other way. Can I use the very discomfort itself as the path? And the answer is that's the whole practice. Can we use toothaches, insomnia, divorces, and our terror to become our link with all humanity? Others just like me suffer too. Or others just like me know this too. This toothache, this divorce, this not getting what I wanted or what I needed. Okay, so we're going to be working now with both pleasure and pain, right? Now we're working with everything. What are we doing with the pleasure? Rejoicing, be glad, taking delight, seeing its basic goodness, gathering it up because you saw it, and what? Offering it where needed. That's the goodness part, taking in the goodness, offering it as best we can to others as many times a day as we can. What are we doing with the difficulty? We're recognizing our complaints. We're recognizing our preferences. We're looking for the basic goodness in this. Where is the basic goodness? Well, the way to begin is by first acknowledging others just like me suffer this too, or no, this too, opening the heart. Then what are you going to do with it? Well, I'm going to take it in anyway, because right? I'm going to breathe that in. That's our compassion practice. Let me take that distress from you. Let me take it on and in and see what we can do with that. This is a big practice week, isn't it? There's lots of infinite opportunities here, lots and lots. Well, why? We notice pleasure and pain in everything. We can use them both on this path and rejoice. And rejoice. I will send this out with some of those practice reminders this week. Thank you all for being here. Please remember, Greg is here on Thursdays at 7. We will be here in the garden with the Nespresso coffees and hopefully some beautiful sunshine, and then do our 30 senior baskets. That's what we're doing at 9 o'clock. We'll have a little treat here. And I look forward to not only practicing formally with you, but practicing informally by sharing some of that joy in the offerings with others. Very big opportunity. Me too. I'm really looking forward to Saturday, Brenda. Thank you as well. I'll look forward to seeing you all as we place our hands together then. May we all be filled with joy, both joy at our own good fortune and the joy of others. May we offer this blessing again and again on the out-breath. As much as we make contact with it, may we offer it to others, and then ourselves be happy and rejoice. We will take delight and be glad in a way that will never diminish but grow and flourish evermore. May we have a terrific joy and gratitude this week. May we all be well. Thank you all so much. I'll look forward to seeing you Saturday if that can work. We hope so. It's actually quite fun and will not probably take us very long. It's simply putting 30 some items in a basket and figuring out how to wrap that up. And then we'll figure out how to get that to CRC, where they will be distributed. I'll look forward to seeing you then, everyone. Remember that you are a blessing to me, and I'm sending you that great joy. All right, everyone, take good care.